A US TikTok users might have to find alternative ways to get their viral dances online, with the social media platform due to go dark later today after the US Supreme Court upheld a ban on the app due to national security concerns.
That's right. Now, it is bad news for the over 170 million American users and content makers who've been migrating to other similar apps. Kevin Frazier is an emerging technology scholar at St. Thomas University College of Law, and he says TikTok's future in the United States remains uncertain.
We just don't know how things are going to play out over the next few days, because the legality of this 90-day extension that President Trump may act under is somewhat questionable. We're not sure that the 90-day extension and its very specific requirements have actually been met. Those specific requirements include, for example, that there are binding legal agreements that are already in place that apply to a potential divestiture of the company, and we're just not seeing that. So unfortunately for those 170 million users of TikTok, they're in a lurch right now, waiting to see just what legal authority the Trump administration acts under, and how other companies like Amazon, like Oracle, and Apple and Google respond to the idea that we may not see enforcement of this ban.
I see. Now, the crux of the matter, of course, is the fact that this is a China-based app, and that Congress were concerned that America's national security was being threatened because of the data collection. So the Supreme Court said that there is a need for a US buyer to step in order for TikTok to continue to operate in the United States. Now, it is just hours before the app goes dark in the United States. There is still time for a last-minute buyer to step in, and CNBC is reporting that Perplexity AI may just step in and do just that. What would that entail?
Yeah, so what a deal may actually look like is making sure that the ownership of TikTok's data and the holding of that data is by a U.S. company. The concern here is that ByteDance LTE, which is owned in part by and has a close relationship with the Chinese government, the key concern there is that ByteDance, under law, must assist or cooperate with the Chinese government's intelligence work. And so what Congress is looking for is a buyer, perhaps Perplexity.ai, perhaps someone like Elon Musk has even been floated. What they're looking for is a US buyer to make sure that the People's Republic of China no longer has access to contact information, age information, device information, perhaps even IP address information on 170 million American users. And so what this deal will look like is making sure that there are binding agreements that alleviate those national security concerns that motivated Congress to act in the first place.
What are the implications for other apps, or perhaps other data-driven technology that's based overseas?
So the main concern here is that under the applicable legislation, which is broader than just applying to TikTok, for example, the concern here is when you have foreign adversaries that have some direct control of a platform. And so for the BBC or for some other media outlet that is owned by an ally of the United States, no harm there, right? No expectations that Congress is somehow going to shut off access to the BBC in the US. For, however, other apps like RedNote. RedNote has become a sort of substitute for TikTok users looking for a new place to post their videos. RedNote, though, has a strong tie to the CCP. And so this existing legislation isn't just about banning TikTok. It's about banning any foreign adversary from having too much control over a platform that has sensitive information about millions of users. And so what that means in the short run is folks may flock to RedNote, but that may be a short-term destination. Instead, the more likely scenario, the more likely long-term scenario, is that YouTube, Instagram, and pre-existing platforms owned and operated by US companies those are the places that stand to gain these users and their many, many followers as this ban potentially proceeds.
Kevin Fraser, it is fantastic getting your insights on this very complex issue. Thank you so much for sharing your insight with us.
Thanks for having me, and have a great rest of your day.